Former prosecutor Laura Coates. I was not. I was corrected enough in the record with the lawyer. That is an ancillary detail. But Laura, look, the problem for Roddy Bryan is McMichael in the moment identifies him as someone who tried to cut off Arbery. That's McMichael saying it. That's not Roddy Bryan. His counselor says that's not true. He had no role. He was not working with them. What's your takeaway, and what do you want to know going forward in this case?
Well, the million-dollar question here is, was his presence there and availability to videotape because he was coincidentally there, or because he was complicit with the McMichael family in actually killing Ahmaud Arbery? If it was pure coincidence, if he is simply just an observer, it would be odd that he was so reluctant to come forward and at least answer some of your questions. However, if he's complicit in some way, and we don't have enough facts to know if he is, well, Georgia law says you can be complicit and actually a party to a crime if you encourage or any way a part of it, if somehow you are involved in a criminal activity, and you can be held accountable the same as somebody who actually fired the gun. So his reluctance is based on what he thinks the prosecutors may be looking for. I look at this case, Chris, and say to myself, why were you there? Why did you know to videotape? And what did you do afterwards? How did you know them? What did you hear? What am I not seeing on the videotape? What were the things that transpired that we can't see? For that, he needs to go before the grand jury and testify and get his answers locked in, albeit 75 plus days later.
Right. Now, look, some of the sources I have around the state side of the investigation says he has been cooperative. He is considered a witness right now. That could change, because the other side of the equation matters just as much. Give me a quick take. The McMichael saying in the moment, and remember, Laura, our audience doesn't understand the way you are when you're trained, to say something in the moment, when the cops show up, when you have just killed somebody, is better than what you say a week later. And they acted like they knew who this guy was, not Roddy, Arbery, that they knew him, that they had identified him from something else, and they knew it was him. How important is that part of the backstory of what was in the McMichaels' heads?
Extraordinary, because if you say it in the moment, the law essentially says you have not conjured some reason to lie. It's considered more credible if you say it in a split second as opposed to reflecting and thinking about what you should have said. And if in fact they did know him or had some reason to believe that they actually knew him, well, you've got issues of profiling and what their motivation really was.
Right. It doesn't make it right what they did, but it gives you an understanding of why they did something so wrong. Laura Coates, pro, thank you.
Absolutely.
Time for my favorite time of the night. Giving it to CNN tonight with Don Lemon, the man who a single piece of fruit can define his entire identity.
Hey Chris, nice job with that interview. I had his fiance on last night.
I went to school on your interview.
Which was an interesting interview because there's so many, you understand, we don't know exactly what went on. Pretty much from the video you can tell, right? This is the interesting part. I don't understand why the attorney does not understand why his client is of interest. And this is, I'm quoting directly, this is from the public release incident report from the Glenn County Police Department. McMichael stated that he and Travis got in the truck and drove down Satilla Drive towards Buford Drive. McMichael stated when they arrived at the intersection of Satilla Drive and Holmes Drive, they saw the unidentified male running down Buford Drive. McMichael then stated Travis drive down Buford and attempted to cut off the male. Stated the unidentified male turned around and began running back in the direction from which he came, and Roddy, in quotation marks, attempted to block him, which was unsuccessful. Michael stated when they jumped into the bed of the truck, and he and Travis continued to Holmes in an attempt to intercept him. I don't know why they would bring him, Roddy, into this. You can certainly see just from the incident report, which is a police report, which is public, why he would be of interest, because he is mentioned. They are accusing him of trying to block Mr. Arbery from getting away. And you as an attorney would know that means what?
It means that you're part of whatever happens. And that means you would be in part responsible for any crimes that come therefrom. However, what's the other side of the analysis? You're absolutely right. That's what's in the report. That's why I asked the question. Now look, the lawyer says, without letting Mr. Bryan say, for himself, and it's not because of his education. I mean, that's the silliest thing I've never seen anybody.
That was insulting to me because my real dad was an attorney like you. My stepdad was a mechanic, right, and a pipe fitter. Wasn't the most educated person, but was one of the smartest people I ever met in my life.
There's zero chance that this man doesn't know and have the wherewithal to say exactly why he was there, what were the circumstances, and
why he
what
didn't
happened.
call 911,
Absolutely.
why he did what he did.
Absolutely,
Right.
and it's not because of the video thing. I wasn't doing that as a stunt. I was showing I could videotape your face right now, stop, and then call 911. That's what you do when someone gets shot.
And say, get here,
killed.
please come,
Right.
get here. I need to videotape it. Goodbye.
Right.
And then.
And now look, maybe he did hear the sirens, maybe it was coming. Whatever.
Who knows?
Look, either with the McMichaels are either going to have proof of communication with Roddy about this or not. It's going to turn out that the McMichaels were working with Roddy Bryan or not. And it's going to turn out that McMichaels were telling the truth about that or not. Either one could be true. Right now, my reporting does tell me that Bryan is not a suspect right now. He is considered a witness. That can change and happens all the time. And it is also true, but for this tape, Don, this would have been almost certainly a miscarriage of justice.
Absolutely.
And there would have never been anything. So this isn't about condemning Bryan or not.
It's about getting to the truth.
And it's about figuring out something else that McMichael said in that report that you point out very rightly. The McMichaels clearly, in their head, during the moments immediately following their murder of Ahmaud Arbery, a sense that they knew who he was and that they had reason to believe that he was connected to crimes. Now, let me tell you why that's so important. Not because it excuses what they did, because it doesn't, but it may provide the groundwork for a prosecution against them, explaining why they did something so wrong.
Yeah, and their state of mind. And listen, I got to tell you, first, listen, you and I both know, right?
Right.
You're in the process of doing some renovations. I did some renovations to my home maybe 2 years ago. And to be honest, in this, HGTV renovation, love it or list it society, people do that all the time.
All the time.
All the time. They walk on your property. When I would come home and it would be my neighbors. It would be someone driving by. Oh, what are you doing here? Such and such used to live here. I wonder what happened to this house. Who bought this house? What you guys are doing? I remember this house is modular.
Right.
It came on trucks. They put it together. All kinds of things. Did I like it? No, but I knew that they're neighbors and nothing was ever stolen. But on and on. So, there's a whole lot here.
Here's what we know. People can slow down that tape all they want,
Yeah.
and make it look as sinister as they want, and
Yeah.
loop it as much as they want. Do you see him take anything?
No, but even if the guy's running down the street with a television in his hand, it's not a reason to be executed.
It is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you want to follow through the line of thinking, did you see him take anything?
No.
Did they find him with anything? No. Did they find him with a weapon? No. And even if they did, were they allowed to do this? That's what the prosecution is going to be about. Now, look, it is fair. I called it a murder. We're not supposed to say things like that until we've had a prosecution. Right now, it's just a killing. Here's how I feel about this case, okay? In the absence, not that it is, of course they're presumed innocent until proven guilty. This was an intentional killing of someone.